I do think that the majority of people, and certainly the majority of people that I've spoken to, are completely against DIY home abortions. And the public realise that that's actually really dangerous. And I think that they understand that that's literally the equivalent of a backstreet abortion. So my name is Eden McCaw. I'm the Director of Public Relations and Media at Abortion Resistance, the new organisation that launched tonight, which is very exciting. I've been pro-life actually from a very, very young age. When I was 3 years old, my parents found out they were expecting a child, and when they went for their scan, they realised that their child had a very serious and rare condition called Patau syndrome. So people with Patau syndrome often don't make it to birth, and if they do, they live maybe a couple of hours, a couple of days after birth. And so, you know, the healthcare professionals pushed my parents into basically abortion because they said there's no chance of her living a healthy life, having a good quality of life, all of these different things. My parents decided against it, and they had my sister. She defied the odds and she lived till she was almost 4 years old. She was the happiest child I've ever met in my entire life. And I never really thought about kind of abortion or anything like that because I was so young. It wasn't until my teen years when I started having these conversations with my peers that I started to realise that pushing abortion in the case of disability is a very, very common thing. And it really shocked me because Josephine basically gave me my outlook on life and gave me the realisation that so many people can enjoy their lives and have happy lives no matter the circumstances they're under. So it wasn't until I started having these conversations with my peer groups that I thought, well, actually, what they're saying is my sister didn't deserve to live, and she didn't even deserve a chance. And it wasn't until then, and that clicked. And in this country, we can have abortion up to birth for the cases of disability. And I thought, well, I need to do something about that because they're discriminating against people like my sister. So that's really how I kind of got involved, got passionate about it, and decided that I wanted to take this further and do more about it. I do think that the majority of people, and certainly the majority of people that I've spoken to, are completely against DIY home abortions. The reason being is because a woman doesn't have any contact with a medical advisor, no face-to-face contact. They speak over the phone. The medical person doesn't even know what their situation is, if they're being coerced or any of these terrible things. And so I think generally the population, the public, realise that that's actually really dangerous. And I think that they understand that that's literally the equivalent of a backstreet abortion. And that's something that just cannot go ahead. So the government, in regards to this, I think they probably wouldn't openly say that it was a bad thing, but they would definitely recognise that this is super unsafe for women and super terrible for the unborn.
Why do you think it is that the UK's so-called Conservative Party has done so little to conserve traditional values like the right to life?
I mean, in this day and age, there is, in my mind, there is no differentiation between the parties. The Conservative Party say they're conservative with conservative values, but they don't push or promote any kind of conservatism anywhere. The Liberal Party, they're just as bad as the Liberal Party, you know. I just think it's so hypocritical to say that you're conservative and then have no conservative values and don't promote or uphold any of them, especially publicly. You know, people actually look towards these MPs, towards these members of Parliament and say, you know, we are expecting you as members of the Conservative Party to do something about this, to uphold our conservative values, and they don't do it. It's just shocking. You know, what's the difference? Why would I vote Conservative over Labour when they're both doing the same thing? I think they really, really, really need to start pushing for actually what they say they're pushing, and practice what they preach and actually promote conservatism if that's what they're about. And it's shocking that they don't.